We stand outside COSATU House. And some people may say, why COSATU House? And I say COSATU House because COSATU House is a crime scene. Why is it a crime scene? Because in that building, thousands and thousands of jobs are killed every single day. Thousands upon thousands of the hopes and dreams of ordinary South Africans are cut down in this building every single day. Now, I noticed over this weekend that COSATU seems to think that the DA, what do they call us? The enemies of the workers. They said we hate workers. And I'm here to say very clearly today, that's not true. We love workers. We love workers, and that's why we want to create millions of more workers in South Africa. When people work, poverty goes down. When people have a job, gangsterism, criminals and other networks are not able to prey on our young people and force them into a life of crime. When people have jobs, they have the dignity to be able to put food on the table for their families. When people have jobs, they're able to provide a better future for their children than the one that they have lived under. But let me tell you today that the tripartite alliance is an unholy alliance. It's an unholy alliance that continues to perpetrate policies on the people of South Africa that destroy jobs, that create an insider-outsider economy where the connected few have access to all the opportunities while 11.7 million of our fellow citizens live without work in the country. Where 30 million of our citizens live below the poverty line in South Africa. And I think it's an insult to South Africans that organizations like COSATU celebrate Workers' Day. What's there to celebrate when 7 out of 10 young people cannot find work? What's there to celebrate when young graduates stand on the streets, corners of our towns and our cities begging for an opportunity to find a job? Where is the dignity for ordinary South Africans when these policies are perpetrated? Now, yesterday, COSATU tried to argue that the DA's economic policy that we released last week would reverse the gains made by the ANC over the last 30 years. I'm here today to tell you that it is COSATU and their allies in the tripartite alliance that have dashed the hopes of millions of our citizens of ever finding a job. COSATU is not on the side of workers. They're not. Because if they were on the side of workers, they would be doing everything possible to ensure there were more workers in South Africa. Instead, they go out of their way to protect people who are employed and forget about the 11.7 million who aren't employed. And so we've got a very clear message today. There are 10 million unemployed and 30 million impoverished South Africans listening to COSATU's bigwigs talking about the so-called progress that they've made. And I have a message for all of those people who have all but lost hope. The economy does not belong to COSATU. It does not belong to the tripartite alliance. It belongs to each and every job-seeking South African who wants to build our country, who wants to make a contribution to our future. And where COSATU and its unholy alliance have shut the door on South Africa's workers, the DA's economic policy holds the key to open it and blow that door wide open so that South Africans can access a life of meaning and can provide for themselves and their families. Now, the DA's economic policy, and let's be clear, recognizes the need for a minimum wage to ensure that the adequate remuneration of skilled workers continues. But we also understand that a targeted exemption of the minimum wage is crucial in our developing country and our developing economy to lift millions of people out of poverty and allow them to earn some money, to enable them to be self-sufficient and to gain a foothold on the opportunity ladder. This unholy alliance talks about the need for a minimum wage to ensure the adequate remuneration of skilled workers. And they talk about it as if it is the holy grail of addressing unemployment in South Africa. But the inflexible minimum wage only acts as a barrier to hiring by businesses. Simply put, when a business cannot afford to pay the minimum wage, it cannot afford to hire staff at all. And this means that instead of creating jobs for millions of our citizens, it is keeping people out of work. Now, we don't have the luxury in our economic situation that has been steered onto the rocks through the terrible policies of this tripartite alliance. We don't have the luxury of being so economically exclusive to implement such a strict minimum wage. We need a system that protects both workers, but also understands that we need to give a hand up to job seekers in South Africa. And we have the solution to this problem. And it's contained in our economic policy, which was released last week. And that solution is that when the DA is the anchor of a new government after the elections, we will introduce a youth employment opportunity certificate to give unemployed youth a leg up in the labour market. And this certificate will allow young people to opt out of the national minimum wage, created and implemented by the job destroyers behind us, and enable unemployed young people to gain work experience, earn a wage, rather than being reliant on the state for a social grant. And it will allow them to move up the opportunity ladder by gaining the work experience of which the minimum wage continues to rob so many of our young people of every day. We will also do it by bringing in a new government that will be able to, that understands how jobs are created, that understands the policies, that understands the macro environment and the micro environment that's required to build jobs. And a party that doesn't just talk about jobs, doesn't just promise things that never get delivered, like this lot behind me, but actually gets out there and grows an economy and delivers jobs. 360,000 new jobs in the Western Cape last year alone. That is under a DA-led government that understands what you need to create jobs. And our economic policy takes the successes of the Western Cape and other areas where we govern and has turned them into a policy that will unlock a jobs revolution in South Africa. Over 2 million new jobs in the coming years that will lift millions of people out of poverty. And we've set out very clearly in our policy how we can do that. And let me be clear, these are not the jobs that Panyaza Lesufi offers you and the EPWP jobs. Those have their place, but there's no substitute for a real job, a job which lasts as long as you want to be working, a job that ensures that what it's paying you is enough to feed your family and ensure that you can advance going forward. Not after 2 to 3 weeks pushing you back into the unemployment queue where you join the other 11.7 million people looking for work again. So I have a message to South Africans, and I've got a message to all of those at home who are despondent about the economic situation and are despondent about finding work. I want to make this commitment to each and every one of you. If you help the DA become part of a national government, you will have a party that's on your side every single day, that will work day and night to make sure that our economy grows, that we get people into jobs, and that we start to build a better future for all of us. We can have jobs in this country. We can have young people taking their rightful place in the workplace. We can have a growing economy. We can have a better future. But we cannot have it with the tripartite alliance. They've had 30 years, and all they've done in that 30 years is destroy the economy and destroy jobs in South Africa and have pushed you into the unemployment queue. It's now time to take South Africa to a next level. And the only way we're going to do that is by making sure we change who's sitting around the table in the union buildings. And that way is to use your most powerful weapon that you have in any election, and that is your vote. So I'm calling on all of you, workers, unemployed alike. There is a better deal that's waiting for you. There is a fairer deal that is waiting for you. And there's a far better future waiting for all of us. But only if we get out and make that change on the 29th of May. Let's get out there and do it. Together, we can rescue South Africa, we can rescue our economy, and we can rescue our people from unemployment. Thank you very much.